Never a doubt, Cowboys.
I was trying to show my dog. I'm sorry.
Okay, Cowboys. Well, you showed something else there. A
Oh
great,
no! I'm sorry. That
a
was not the
great
intent.
re-entry. That's Kevin. We'll
The
formally
wrong
introduce
dog.
him here in a bit. Cowboys 44 and Giants 20. Never a doubt. This is the Texas Porch Cowboys postgame podcast. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter tonight. Texas Porch Pod, the handles on all those. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast for us to venture out and talk all things Texas talk and a touch of sports as well. Give us a subscribe and check out that Mitch design, the texasporch.com. Josh has this pod off to watch his cheating Astros, so we welcome in the great Kevin. I hesitate to call you a fill-in because you're a regular, but also I don't like bothering you all the time, and you're
Yeah, I haven't
going
really
out
been
into
on.
married life. But yeah, we haven't had
Yeah,
you on in a while.
I hadn't been on this season, so it's fair to call me a fill-in for now. You have to do some shows on a regular basis to be a regular, and it resets every season. We do football. We know how it goes.
True. Well, a toast, my unsweet tea, whatever you're drinking. The Cowboys pick up a great win today, and not great in the sense aesthetically pleasing, but they had a 500-plus yards of offense
Yeah.
in a great running game. But what's your quick hit kind of snapshot of this? Mine was it was ugly, but you got it done. No division win is a bad win. What say you?
I kind of agree with you, JP. It feels like it didn't go as well as it should have, which is ridiculous when you look at the stats and the score. It's a ridiculous stance to take in retrospect when you overall look at how the game went. But the Giants coming in, and first of all, they lose their only two offensive weapons they had on the
Half their
field,
roster, it
basically.
seemed like, yeah.
Yeah. And then the Cowboys were just struggling too much. And like, look, I love Dak Prescott. He's my boy. But today he had amazing plays and then terrible plays. He didn't just have maybe in the second half, but he wasn't just doing some good, like, foot soldier type of work out there today. And it kind of bothered me. And then early, interception on another tipped pass, and then dropping the ball too on the bad snap, which should not have happened. I don't know. But I will admit it sounds ridiculous to say the Cowboys won ugly when you look at the stats and the score.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous to say that, but that was my general feeling through the game. I was like, and I don't know, maybe I was still afeared from last year, because this is the game that we lost Dak on last year. So I don't know, maybe it was the specter of injuries past floating over my head.
Yeah, like Josh and I have talked about in the previous episodes, you kind of get scarred and you're like this wounded dog. You're waiting for the bad things to happen. And in this game, the bad things started to happen. The early turnovers, like last season, started to plague them, but they bounced back. And a lot of that because the Giants were at one point missing half their opening day starting roster. But you know the drill. We recap it here, and then we'll have some big picture Cowboys topics here in the next half hour or so. But going in, Zeke and Amari Cooper doubtful going into the week. Cowboys essentially still missing most of their defensive line. Third game for Dallas versus our boy Jason Garrett. I had an amazing nap before the game. Sorry, Texans. I tried to watch, but I am pumped and I am napped up, ready to go. So let's go with this recap. Lorenzo Carter, volleyball tips. Like we were talking about, the early turnover problems, gets that interception to give New York the ball. It was Dak's third pick of the season, but Dallas catches a break. Giants' Graham Gano, who I erroneously ID'd as kicking for Tampa Bay on our first pod. It's bugged me ever since, but he misses a 54-yard field goal. So on the Cowboys' first drive, they get a field goal from the leg, a good Zeke and Pollard drive. In the red zone, Dak so slightly misses Schultz in the end zone, but he got his hands on it, so that might have been one that Schultz should have.
That was Schultz. It was there. Yeah. Dak had it there. That was on Schultz. It was in his hands. Now, he might have dropped it if he got lit up after he caught it. Dak threw it into traffic, but it hit his hands. Dak threw it a little bit behind him because otherwise it had a chance to get intercepted. Hit both hands of Schultz, and he wasn't even fully outstretched. That you got to catch that if you're getting paid.
Yeah, but you also have to throw it better if you're getting paid like that. And that's my
No,
problem.
that's what I'm saying. It was the perfect throw. It was a better throw than throwing it where he was, because having to pause a little bit, go back, and bring it in had left less ability for a defensive player to make a ball and tip it, to make a play and tip that ball down.
As
It was a
usual
good
with
throw.
Dak, we just agree to disagree, because I think that's one of those throws by Dak you actually see a couple times a game that I've gotten past. That
Mm-hmm.
Kellen Moore has kind of taken out of this offense, so to speak. He's putting Dak in a lot better positions where he's not having a lot of those moments. But anyway, 6-1, half dozen the other. It wasn't the reason, but you watch coming up here in mid-January, we're doing this podcast in a few months, Dak will miss on a big third down play and it'll end up costing them. Anyway, I'm enjoying the now, Kevin. I'm enjoying the now. And that was just the first drive. But Dallas was leading 3-0, and then the injuries started to unfold. Just amazing. Saquon Barkley
Mm-hmm.
goes down on the next drive for the G-men, rolls his ankle, and 2 plays later, Diggs barely missed his 6th pick. I think he'll get
Right.
another chance of that one, though, but Dallas holds on that drive. Then there was a big 4th down and 1. Donovan Wilson, Cedric Wilson, excuse me. I do that all the time. He got a jet sweep on a no huddle. Cowboys just running the ball at will. Giants kept showing that cover 2 look, and Dallas was running the ball at will. But the second turnover of the first quarter, Dak pulled a Romo, or the Cowboys offense pulled a Romo. One of my big pet peeves of many in the Romo area. They got the ball snapped with like 0.1 seconds left on the play clock. They weren't synced up. In the end, I guess it does come down to Dak. But again, a lot of this game came down to New York just not physically capable of taking advantage of the turnovers that came their direction. So it's I had to change things up. I had to change the mojo up. So it was popcorn time in the second quarter. Kevin, usually that's a third quarter deal as the only slightest of nods to TO. But the Giants get a 3-and-out. And then boom, Dak makes his first big play, a perfect pass, a 49-yard drop in the bucket down that right sideline to C.D. Lamb.
What's funny is I thought that was
10
overthrown. When Dak let go of that ball, I was like, "Oh no, he overthrew it. Oh my goodness, no, he didn't. It was perfect. Yes, yes, yes." And then the dogs got touchdown bacon. It was beautiful.
Yes, this season, fans might not be familiar with the touchdown bacon, but I guess even with the last pick 6, the dogs still get some
Oh
touchdown
yeah,
bacon
so this year
or
I'm doing
chicken.
touchdown bacon, so they've been getting plenty of bacon. They get little bacon treats every time there's a touchdown. I have been getting touchdown gin on that, and
Okay, so you've gone away from the vodka.
yes, yeah, we're
Okay.
still mostly clear liquors though. Gotta keep that liver clean with the clear liquors. But they also are getting what do I call it? Uh I guess kickin chicken. They get little like tiny chicken treats
Okay.
whenever we get field goals. So they get kickin chicken whenever we get field goals, which I haven't gone to reaching into their stomachs to take chicken back when we miss field goals, and that's probably a bad idea. But I tell you what, I've unfortunately been angry like that this season.
Well, they've been fans of Greg the Leg this year. He, except for
Yeah,
that first game against Tampa Bay, he's really come up big for them. But it was a 10-0 game at that point. Next drive for New York, they get a 38-yard pass down the right sideline. That sets up a Gano 51-yard field goal. So the New York Porch gets some touchdown, or I guess
yeah,
some chicken there. Gano, a good game. I mean, they made him kick some deep field goals, and he capitalized on a few of those. But Dallas 10-3, opening minutes, first 5 minutes of the second quarter. Dallas punts on the next drive. And for some reason, the Giants punt returner returns it inside around the 5-yard line, but they march down there with relative ease for the Giants. And Tony, the big reason to get it inside the 5-yard line. But the huge play of the game that really you just felt for Daniel Jones, New York bootlegs, and Jabril Cox, the first time we've really seen him in game action, We'll talk more about the big news coming in the week of Jaylon Smith. Ordinarily, that would have been Jaylon Smith on that play, but Golston and Cox team up and just hammer Jones's face into the turf. And they showed that really slow motion replay of the black pellets and his spit being mixed. Like that's
Yeah.
almost too good of television. It was
Mhm.
really scary. It was Mike Glennon's game from there on out. And not that they would have won the game. I just hate seeing a play like that because Jones has had a really hard time of it, and he gets the miserable New York media to deal with. Seems like a good guy, and just couldn't catch a break there. But
Hey, and he went down like a warrior, honestly. I mean, he was fighting for every inch of the on the field, and he was trying to get the touchdown. And he goes down. Saquon already went down. I tell you, after the Cowboys, I was worried there at the beginning that the Giants were going to have much better chance than I thought they would have had starting this game. And then they started losing people, and I, I wasn't happy on the injuries, frankly. I mean, it's the Giants. If they go out for the game, I'm happy. These will look like they might be a little worse than that. That one on Daniel Jones, I was kind of proud of him so far this season, playing better, kind of putting the naysayers. This was his. A lot of people saying it was his do or die season, and he was doing. And I don't necessarily want to see him die. I just want him to see him lose against the Cowboys. That's all.
I like how you qualify that. Not necessarily you don't want to see him. But anyway, if he was the Eagles quarterback, maybe that qualifier is
Right. Yeah.
eliminated.
The Giants are the honorable enemy.
I mean, come on, the Eagles booed Michael Irvin. We all know that story. But
And
so
Santa
anyway,
Claus.
I don't know if it was like this for your, I guess you have KDFW. No, you would have been KTVT in your Dallas area. I'm down here in the Houston TV coverage. But the next play, Booker punches it in on 4th and 1. This is Glennon's game from here on out. And they scored during the commercial break.
Yeah, and that's the national broadcast, so I'm sure we saw the same thing. And if you
Okay.
were listening a little while later, Joe Buck explained it. He said the officials had a mix up. The officials lost where they were in the TV timeout, so they teed it up and played it while there was still a commercial going on and a break on TV. And then they ran the play real fast. So there wasn't a chance to come out of that TV break, and you're not cutting it short for that kind of money. I mean, you just do what you do. But the officials got confused on where they were in the break, is what Joe Buck said. And when he came back to it, there was even a shot of the officials, and they were going, "No, it was your fault. No, it was your fault. No, you did it." So that
So
is apparently what happened.
it's a brand new game at that point. It's 10-10. Dallas gets the ball back. A score here would be important because New York gets the ball to start the second half. Cooper gets his first catch of the game, not his last. 17-10. The Cowboys punched in with 36 seconds left in that second quarter, and they get to the half. And after a 35-yard gain on the first play of the half, staring into the sun, we text each other almost simultaneously. In that east-west field, Dallas at least forces a long field goal. So it's Gano from 51 this time. He had that big leg. 11-14 of the third, 17-13 for Dallas. Big passes to Lamb and Schultz as the Cowboys get the ball back. And also a sliding catch to Cooper. Then Zeke goes down, and he landed on that pylon. Again, I was synced up with the radio, so I was listening to the great Brad and Babe. I don't know they showed him landing on the pylon, but I don't know if
Actually,
that was
I
what hurt him in that case.
I
But
will
he
tell you
bounced
what I
back and got
saw,
the
and
TD.
I think Troy Aikman said this too. It wasn't the pylon. They did multiple replays on that. He didn't land on that actual pylon that has a little camera in it, and that's mostly padded too, although I'm sure there's some little things in it. No, he landed on the chains, the pole of the chains, like the big pole that has the rubber foot at the bottom. He landed on that rubber foot on just probably where his kidney is, like maybe just below his ribs or maybe on his bottom ribs. He landed on the rubber foot of the pole that is the down marker. So it wasn't the pylon, the padded pylon he landed on. He landed on the hard rubber foot of the metal pole, right on his like kidney, right on where his back is. So it wasn't his hip, it was right there. And so it hurt really bad. And he's going to have a big, nasty bruise, but I think he's fine. And he certainly looked fine.
Yeah,
after that.
because
So
what, 2, 3 plays later, he starts doing the Dion, looked really cool at 21 doing that,
yeah,
Dion
yeah, it
high
did.
step
It
and,
did.
does the little Dion dance. Barely got in as they're like, "Oh, I better actually get to pay dirt here." Dallas was leading 24-13, and then the moment we were all waiting for. We were teased a couple times. Credit the Giants for being aggressive. They consistently went at Treyvon Diggs, but he nabbed his sixth pick, a deep ball to the right side, and it was his ninth in 17 career games, his fifth straight game that ties the franchise record through picks through 5 games. This guy, man, Josh and I've talked about this the last couple weeks because he's given us so much ammo in a good way. He is one of my favorite Cowboys in the last decade now. We've had slim pickings on the defensive side for playmakers, but man, I love everything about Treyvon Diggs in this one. And this season, what he's been, NFC Defensive Player of the Year, quality play he's putting up. Sooner or later, they're going to stop throwing at him, but I hope
Well,
not.
yeah, yeah, and they were talked about that in the broadcast. I wanted to mention that in years past, it hasn't been much of a factor, but I've always done turnover treats too, and they're the little chicken treats as well. This year, the dogs have gotten bunches of turnover treats, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful thing.
You have some fat dogs and a worn out liver here with all the
Yep.
offense and the turnovers and the field goals going in this one. We've missed you, Kevin. We've missed you in this one. We need to get you on in more episodes. But Diggs, he's a beast, and he keeps doing it. It's free Tony P time, despite a long run that got called back. Then Zeke and him got more work on a pretty nondescript drive. Tyler Biadasz did a good job recovering a fumble that kept the drive alive, and that ended in a leg field goal. Ho hum, 27-13. Couple minutes left in the third quarter. At this point, I felt okay. The game's over. It feels like it's over, but it's the NFL. They're
Yeah,
professional athletes out there,
right.
even though it is the Ding Dong Giants.
Hmm.
They have capabilities to do something. It felt like that was a huge score at that time to give it that two score game, and they would have that cushion the rest of the game.
It absolutely did, and I was you've got a good lead, but if you don't sort of secure that lead, even the backups can take you down the NFL. Crazy things can happen. It's the Giants. If you get one bad injury and lose, a good player of yours, or just the ball bounces a weird way, and you know, it's never certain, especially with divisional opponents, and especially with Jason Garrett on the sideline too. By the way, it's the third one. Still very familiar with the team too.
Okay, I didn't know if you were saying that ironically or trying to be funny, throwing jokes out
No,
there. You're
no,
actually
no. Inside knowledge of the
okay.
players and their proclivities has got to help, right?
Yeah, you'd think so, but
Hmm.
yeah, won't make it a Jason Garrett bashing session, but didn't help him a lot outside of obviously some great seasons when he was there. But so New York creeps down without all their main parts on offense. They're dragging guys left and right. But start of the fourth quarter, and then down the 13-minute mark after a New York timeout, Dallas was trying to take this timeout, a third and goal at the 9. Tony and the Wildcat almost gets in. He's a feisty guy. But then fourth and goal at the 2, but the Cowboys hold. And then this one's definitely on ice because the Cowboys had a 98-yard scoring drive. Zeke runs one in from 13 yards out about halfway through the fourth quarter. The rare 119-yard scoring drive. You don't get that because of the different
Oh yeah.
you rarely score on holding calls, much less
Hmm.
multiple holdings and penalties that happen on that drive. But Dallas cruising 34-13, feisty on the next drive, and that continued in the second half. A long Giants drive. Ross had that great one-handed tipping catch back of the end zone that was overturned, rightfully so. Fourth and goal, Casey makes a stop. He's a feisty guy too. He made a stop at the 1, but then they say, hey, yeah, we've discussed it. We changed our mind. And then it was actually a touchdown. So New York scores there, which I think was the right call. And
Yes, yes, absolutely.
losing his helmet 34-20, about 3 minutes to go.
That was an amazing effort he put forth there. Yeah, definitely a touchdown.
Yeah, just
Actually, they said there was something new that they put in that I didn't know about, where they can do an immediate overturn like the review guys in New York can do an immediate change the call. And they did that there, like they saw the first replay and they went, no, that's a touchdown, and they immediately changed it because it was so obvious, and it saves coaches or teams from having to use a challenge if something's just crazy immediately obvious. And especially on a score like that where it's going to go into the end zone and it will be reviewed anyway, I like the rule change. If that's the application of it, I like it.
I would love, and I'm sure you know this about me by now, just have all instant replay like that. Make it that immediate quick change. I know it's not going to happen.
They are slowly getting there. They do have where the centralized guys in New York can
Eye in the sky.
call. Yeah, the eye in the sky can call for the replay. They do have that, so it doesn't have to be the officials on the field and doesn't have to be coaches. Someone else, an outside viewpoint who is consistent, generally the same guys for all the games, maybe the idea at least, and so far it's bared fruit, is to be a little more consistent. Yeah, it's kind of there. This new rule, if it's something on a scoring play and they see one replay that everybody in America also sees, and they go, okay, now call that a touchdown. We'll look at it more after you call the touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't make the coach use a challenge. No,
yeah.
No.
They get something right.
Yeah.
So as we said, it's been on ice, 37-20, a leg field goal, his third of the day. Anthony Brown then gets in on the action, 44-20, as a pick six to put the cherry on top.
That was beautiful.
He jumped it, and he was not going to be stopped. He had dropped that one. What was that, last week?
Yeah.
And you knew that it was due. Things are going right. When you're turning teams over. The 9th straight game Dallas has had with 2+ takeaways. So that's the most that has happened. It's off the top of my big noggin, but that was the most since 2010. So the offense is rolling. They're very balanced. The defense is obviously rolling with great defensive players. But to kind of sum things up, not only just with that win, but I'd be curious to get your interpretations pinch us. we're like Charlie Brown waiting for Lucy to pull that football away.
Right. I did feel that some on this game too with the Giants. Yeah.
But everything's going so well, but you don't overlook division wins, and we'll worry about New England later. But this is it's a win to savor because you never look down the nose at a division win.
Absolutely. And injuries rule in football, and so far we've been reasonably lucky where we have gotten injured. We've had some depth, and that can always bite you. But I'll tell you what it is. It's this defense, and it's the takeaways. That's 100% what I think is the difference between like this year and last year, or even the year before, is the defensive play. And our players aren't that much better. We have a few players that are a lot better, but overall, the scheme is a lot better. I think the coaching is a lot better, but taking it away so far, and I'll knock on wood on this defense has reminded me a lot of the year the Saints went to the Super Bowl and won it with Drew Brees. They had that takeaway, that stellar takeaway defense, but the next year when they had basically all the same defensive players and the same coordinator, their defense was trash. It's like there's something special that everything came together. Everything was right. Everybody was the right age, the right, I don't know, contract situation, whatever you want to call it. The stars aligned, and their aggressiveness paid off more than it hurt them. And they were able to take that away. And if you can get takeovers in a game, your defense can give up yards, and if you have an offense like the Cowboys or the Saints did that year, you can even give up some points, and that's all right. You're going to be able to recover. But it kind of reminds me of this takeaway defense. And that's not it's different. The Cowboys haven't had a takeaway defense in forever. Yeah. Maybe since Deion Sanders was here.
And not to put words in your mouth to tell you what to think, but I think a lot of that defense, and you reference the perfect comparison there with Seattle, it's Dan Quinn. Getting Dan Quinn in there, like getting Mike Nolan out of there, which is you got to credit McCarthy for not sticking with this boy another year. And then Micah Parsons. He quietly leads them with 8 tackles. Van Der Esch, you see this segues into our next topic, which we chirped at each other, full disclosure, during the week about Jaylon Smith getting cut. but you saw Van Der Esch play well. You saw more of Keanu Neal, but having Micah Parsons out there and being able to flourish, that's the big difference in the defense. And with Kellen Moore on the offense, you've seen even an expanded look and even more Dak-friendly offense this year.
Yeah.
Zeke doesn't have the beer belly, the pot belly, the munchy belly. He's looking fired up, and that complements free Tony Pollard wonderfully. But just my two cents. All right, let's argue. Let's like what we do.
All right.
We love each other, but we argue a lot too. So Jaylon Smith was cut during the week. I was actually happy about it. I hate it on a personal side because he's such an outstanding human being and just everything he had bounced back from. But this is unfair to throw at you right now after a win, but you saw the benefits of a game like this. One of the lowest rated linebackers in the league. We can argue about the way they had to do it, but I did not have one problem about them getting rid of number 9.
Yeah, no, of course, Saquon Barkley went out early too, so it's a little hard to tell. But however, what I did like to see and was a bit of a surprise was Van Der Esch played better as the game went on. He was able to pick up some momentum, and when he got more reps and wasn't being cycled in and out, it seemed like his game was better, which is awesome. Of course, Van Der Esch has been a little injury prone too, so if he goes down, what do you do? No, my thing with Jaylon Smith was not cutting him. I'm like, okay, or not playing him. I'm like, all right, don't play him, make him a backup or a special teams player or whatever you want to do. My problem is he tackles better than a pile of $7 million sitting on the sideline. That's my problem. He tackles better than literally nothing. Even if he was on the practice squad or something.
You're not wrong on that single point, but they would have had to pay him another bonus. He was healthy now. So they had to time. I think they timed it perfectly. And again,
what other bonus? Wait, this is news to me. The thing was that I heard Stephen Jones was quoted as was that we paid him $7 million here, and if he got injured, then next year's salary was going to be guaranteed.
Yeah, that was it. That thing. Bonus. I used the wrong nomenclature. That was the wrong term I used. Shame on me. But he was done, man. Like you got everything you could out of him. It stunk. I don't know. Van Der Esch, probably rightfully so, pitched a fit. It was personal to him because that's his buddy there.
Yeah.
But I almost want to say, why didn't you do it sooner? I was surprised even.
No, sooner would absolutely have been better. Sooner before they extended his contract. Sooner would have been way better. Yeah. But sooner would have been before this year's salary got guaranteed, before the $7 million was guaranteed. Sooner would have been way better. The timing here is a traditional Jerry Jones timing where you do a thing so that it costs you as much as possible and you get the least out of it. And that was the problem I had with the move.
I'd say welcome to the Cowboys, welcome to the NFL.
Yeah.
They extended him before they knew they were getting Parsons. Remember, it was all talk.
Yeah.
Corner, and linebacker went. Think about the flip the linebacking position went from. It went from the weak spot of the defense next to safety, and into one of the strengths of the defense, the strengths of the team. You haven't heard anything from safety this year because, you've had Diggs covering up any warts there in the secondary. So I don't know. I don't want to be in the position of picking fights, but I just I'm happy the way they're playing now. But I just hate that a good guy had to leave.
And here's what maybe the biggest thing you're risking when you could have Jaylon still sitting on the sidelines and playing depth and hardly playing him and have low risk of him getting that guaranteed $9 million anyway. Is that if they came out today and I don't know, let's say perhaps Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley have a really good game, and they beat the Cowboys and they run right through the defense. And let's say Van Der Esch gets injured. If you're going to, make all your decisions based on possible injuries, well, let's make one in the other direction too, based on a possible injury. Say Micah Parsons and Van Der Esch get injured instead of the two Giants today. And then you've cut Jaylon Smith. You have just gutted your defense and demoralized them because those guys like Jaylon Smith. So the other side of that was we got nothing at all, period, except a news cycle story. That just seemed ridiculous to me.
Well, it happens on Tuesdays. That's just, I think, general cut day. But
Yeah.
I'd say you have Jabril Cox, who you saw today, and you
Yeah.
had a healthy Keanu Neal.
Yeah, they played well today, so that overcame some of my biggest
Yeah.
fears on what I thought was stupid. But I mean that I, if you're going to say you shouldn't play based on that sort of scenario, then you shouldn't play. You shouldn't make decisions based on, well, he'll be injured, we're going to have to pay him $9 million scenario either. So my scenario to me is just as reasonable as saying, well, we're going to have to pay him $9 million next year. They go, well, only if he gets injured, you're going to have to, you know. And it's like, it's going to demoralize the defense. Well, only if you lose to the Giants. So I'm reasonable. I'm just as reasonable in making that decision along those lines.
All right, Kevin, we've run out of time. But
All
that
right.
doesn't mean we can't say you better be back. I want more kicking chicken. I want more victory bacon. I want more.
Turnover treats.
Yeah, I want more turnover treats, and I want more.
Definitely more turnover treats.
So maybe not next week, but sometime here soon. I want you
All right.
more than a fill-in. Next week at New England, 3:25. That's another CBS telecast. So I'm sure, and I guess, Joe and Troy today. So it'll be a CBS telecast again, but you have Jim and you have Tony on there. So I will be sure to have the sound down on that one. All right, K2, you're the best, man. Talk to you soon.
Dak attack.
He rolls, and we didn't even get to that today. Dak. 364 days since his injury. He was
it's beautiful. He looks perfectly fine as far as the injury goes, and he's still getting better as Dak Prescott, which is pretty dang good.
Mm-hmm. No complaints. And I'm looking at any opportunity to pounce on Dak, but I am so proud he's the Cowboys QB. Almost went ours there. All right, K2. See you, man.
Later. Good night.
That's Kevin. I'm JP. He's got some work duty to get to. Make sure you check out the Mitch design, the TexasPorch.com. And he left us. He just gave us a big egg there. And he's going off to 10 to the dogs with the victory bacon, the post-game celebration. Have a great rest of this day or night. God bless you. God bless Texas. We'll talk to you next time out here on the Texas Porch. Go Cowboys.